Hi friends, we have an interesting shloka which tells about how the society always tests us. You see, every person is tested by the society in the sense that whatever we do is being watched by so many people. Whatever we do is being scrutinized by so many people. So that is what the poet is saying in this, giving the example of gold. Gold, how is it tested? Normally we do not know. In olden days we used to see the goldsmiths, because the goldsmiths were so open in our villages and the small towns. We could see that goldsmith who is melting the gold and then he is beating it and then how he is removing the dirt from the gold, etc., etc. we used to see. But nowadays, of course, with so much of modernization, we don't see how exactly gold is made into an ornament, how the factories how they do it. But then you can visualize how the goldsmith takes the gold and then he melts it. He melts it in the sense he has to heat it up. He has to heat it up in a very till it melts, and then he has to beat it, and sometimes he has to cut it, sometimes he has to rub it and see whether it is pure or not. So all these things are done. There is a gold testing person even in the banks. Suppose you want to take some gold and then you want to keep it as a deposit and then you are taking some loan on that. So the bank person wants to see whether it is real gold or not. So there is a person who is an evaluator, a person who sees whether it is gold or not, and then he rubs and then he sees and then whether he just checks whether it is right, whether it is correct gold or not. So similarly, as this example of gold is there, a person is tested by the society always, in the sense that he is always under scrutiny. So that is what the shloka says. Let us read the shloka. Yatha chaturbhih kanakam parikshyate nigharshana tapatadanaihi tatha chaturbhih purushah parikshyate shrutena shilena kulena karmana. Fine. So he says, we are just as a person is tested, gold is tested, just as gold is tested by the goldsmith in so many ways. What do they do? Nigharshana. Nigharshana, as I said, is just rubbing and scratching. So people have to see whether it stands to test or not. And if we see, life is full of so many examinations, isn't it? Life is full of so many examinations, in the sense that right from starting point, you are having some first grade, second grade, third grade, etc., etc. As you go up, you are still having examinations, and then you are having so many competitions. You may be having some elocution competition somewhere, or it may be some essay writing competition, or it may be some competition in sports, or it may be some other competition in arts. It may be dance, it may be some other thing, or it may be some competition in some poetry writing, anything. So all these things, they are all various competitions and various tests. So these are the things which go on. That is nigharshana. Chedana. Chedana means cutting. Cutting what goldsmith takes, sometimes he has to cut also. Sometimes nigharshana may not reveal, sometimes he has to cut it also. So that means sometimes society creates very testing situations for us. Ordinary chedanam is very simple. That is, the first one, nigharshanam, is rather simple. That is mere rubbing. But here, a slightly more dangerous, more cutting exam. Cutting means more testing exam, more testing environment, more testing situation, where all your skills are tested. So that is what is chedana. Then tapa. Tapa means heating. So the gold is heated up to the melting point. So there are so many situations which create anxiety in you. When there is anxiety, our mind is really very, very hot. In fact, when you are very, very anxious, when you are suffering from anxiety, the mind is really, really in a hot situation. So that is what is tapa. So just as gold is molten there, similarly the mind also is molten here. You are undergoing so much of stress in the mind. Tapa. Then tadanaihi. Tadana means creating real trouble. Creating certain real troubles where you have to fight and come out. So these are certain situations which are mentioned here. Then not only the people around us evaluate us, not only the people who are above us who evaluate us, it is also the people who are under you who evaluate. Suppose you are working in an office, there are some people who are above you, and then there are some people who are below you. Below you means you are in charge of a team, whereas you are yourself responsible for another boss. So your boss also evaluates you, and your team members, you are the team boss, no doubt, but then these people also evaluate you. These people give their own reports about you, about whether you are a good team leader or not, whether you share information properly with them or not, whether you are cordial with them or not. So all these things they do share. So we should also bother for what our juniors think of us as much as what our seniors think of us. The people who are below us, we should bother about what they think of us as much as we bother for what the people who are above us think of us. So this is what we see. So similarly, a person is tested on 4 points. It is mentioned here. Tatha chaturbhihi. Chaturbhihi means in 4 ways, by four means. Chaturbhihi is in Tritiya Vibhakti. Chaturbhihi, that is by 4 means. Purusha parishyate, a person is examined. How? Shrutena. Shruta means what? Learning. Shrutena. Then Shilena, his character. Shruta is of course a normal testing. Suppose whether you have studied properly or not, it is a very clear process. There is an examination, or there can be a debate, there can be some competition, something like that. Sheelam is character. Character is tested by certain testing situations. We have come across so many stories in this. Some sage is sitting in doing some tapas. So Lord Indra sends some damsel to test him. So this man, he will give up his tapas, and then he goes after the damsel. So that means his sheelam, or his character is gone there. So that is chedana. Just as that chedanam has taken place, niharshana chedana, this sheelam also is destroyed there. Similarly, kulena. Kula means a particular clan. A person belongs to a very respectable class, let us say. So that person, he undergoes a lot of stress, in the sense that he has to keep up that status, he has to keep up that good name of that family, he has to keep up the good name of the family. And in order to keep the good name of the family, he undergoes a lot of stress. And that is what is called tapa. Tadana. And the last one is tapa tadanaihi. Tadanam is beating, isn't it? So that is Shrutena, Shilena, Kulena, Karmana. Karma means activity. What exactly is the activity he is doing? So if you are sitting idly in your house, okay, you are virtuous. But if you are also very active in the field, then when you are a man of action, naturally you may be committing some mistakes. People who do not commit mistakes are those who do not work anywhere. Suppose you don't work at all, you don't commit any mistakes. It happens in government departments also. A person who has never got into trouble, suppose a very senior officer who never got into trouble. So if you just see his background, he may be a person who has always played safe, who always pleased his boss, who always said yes to whatever was there, or he never took any decision. Suppose he takes a decision, he will be accountable for the decision. So many people, they don't take any decision, so that they are very, very safe. But if you are acting, if you are a man of action, somewhere you have some friction with somebody. So karma or action is something, it is like tadana, like beating. So in 4 ways, just as gold is tested by the goldsmith in 4 ways, the world is acting like a goldsmith on us. The society is acting like a goldsmith on us, and then testing us in 4 ways, that is by our learning, by our character, and our self-esteem, and then our the status in society, and also by our action. So in all these 4 ways, the society is testing us, not only ordinary people, all people are under test always. If you come across, for example, a religious leader, suppose. A religious leader also is tested. I just gave the example of a sage doing some tapas and being seduced by a dancing girl. So similarly, a religious preacher, suppose there is a priest. A priest's behavior is also under watch. Suppose the priest is doing certain things which he is not supposed to do. He is always under watch by the society. Political leaders, they are also under watch. They are always under watch. They are always under watch by the rival political parties. And then there are certain ratings which go on. What is the rating of president for this month? What is the rating of so-and-so for this month? So those ratings also go on. So everybody is undergoing this process of rating by the society, which acts like a goldsmith. So this is a nice poem. Let us repeat it. Yatha chaturbhih kanakam parikshiyate nigharshanachedana tapatadanaihi तथा चतुर्भिः पुरुषः परीक्ष्यते श्रुतेन शीलेन कुलेन कर्मणा. Fine.